2025 has come to an end, and with it we trundle forward towards the end of video games as we know them. And as I pore over these clips of honourable mentions that didn't make my final selection, I'm thinking about the sort of gaming year I've had. 2025 was undoubtedly one of the best years for games ever, and yet, due to my gaming time becoming increasingly limited, I've not been able to make the most of it. I've loved what I've played, but I can't help leaving this year almost saddened that I couldn't play so much more. That's the downside of so many fantastic games releasing. There just isn't the time in the day for all of them, not to mention all the classic older games that I also want to make time for. My limited gaming time has meant that I've ended up being quite focused with my gaming, and with the launch of a new console, this has ended up being a very Nintendo year. With good reason too, because the Switch 2 is an absolute banger of a console. From previewing it ahead of its launch to the multitude of games that have come out this year, the Switch 2 and also the Steam Deck has seen most of my gaming time, but not all of it. I've not done the usual top 10 gaming list that others tend to do. I find it a bit reductive to try and rank such vastly different experiences against each other, but I thought it'd be fun to do a mini awards ceremony, highlighting some of my favourites of this year, and a couple of not so favourites, or which are soon to be favourites. So strap in, and here are my favourite faves of 2025. Best Popcorn Game: Sectory. For me, a popcorn game is one of those games that you play in short bursts and end a run with, oh, just one more. They come in many flavours, with a lot of arcadey type games fitting this bill. They don't have to be easy, but ultimately they need to be moreish, to be deliciously bouncing off of your endorphins for the entirety of your time playing. Sectory is the ultimate one of those this year. They made a new Geometry Wars. They made a new Geometry Wars that improved upon Geometry Wars, featuring a relentless, repeatable campaign with boss battles, classic endless modes, the most overstimulating yet passable look to a game ever, and sick beats to blast to. Sectory presses all of the endorphin buttons from the moment you open it up to when you close it down, palms drenched in sweat, and brain wired like you've seen God. Like mixing a twin-stick shooter with Tetris effect in a rave, Sectory is an explosive sensory experience. Don't play this before bed, as you won't be sleeping for a while after. Game I finally dropped off of: Fortnite. Speaking of popcorn games, Fortnite is like one of those, but has become more of a McDonald's game. It's still moreish and addictive, but is evil, and has loads of brand tie-ins for its Happy Meals. Can you tell I wrote this while I was hungry? I've been playing Fortnite for years now, but this is the year it finally grew old for me. I don't know what originally caused it, but suddenly I wasn't completing a battle pass in a season, and then I realised, why did I want to? Was I only playing in order to complete the battle pass? For those little bops of satisfaction as I level up? I started to resent the time it was taking up as part of my habitual playing, time I could have used to play so much more other stuff. The next season, I didn't even log in, and before I knew it, I hadn't played in months. I came back for the Simpsons season, which was pretty neat, but even then I just barely finished the pass. At which point I realised, maybe I'm done. Sure, Fortnite is a game designed to keep you eating, and it kept me eating for a while, but it could only satiate me for so long. And now, with it designating funds to supporting J.K. Rowling through its Harry Potter crossover and its blatant AI art usage, I don't see myself returning without a serious shift in direction that will likely never come. Best Friends in a Game: Deltarune. I was scared to approach Deltarune. Undertale, its predecessor, is one of my favourite games, and playing it for the first time changed how I viewed games entirely. How do you follow up on a masterpiece? Like this, apparently. Deltarune improves on Undertale in every way, while still keeping the things that made Undertale so great. The irreverent humour mixed with a deep and dark story, the ability to play through combat passively, the combat itself being a bunch of constantly changing minigames, all still there and expanded upon. But it also improves by giving you a party of friends to play through with. Over the course of the chapters currently released, I found myself really getting attached to Chris, Susie, Rausai, and even Lancer. Their interaction with one another and how they play off each other in various scenarios and combat are the driving force of the game, and are some of the better written companions of this year. While I typically come to games for the game element, this group of buds drew me in and kicked me in the heart as I saw them grow and change over the course of the story. I need chapter 5 and 6 yesterday, so that I can see my pals again. Game I wish I enjoyed more. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Metroid Prime 4 released to too much expectation. After originally being announced in 2017, 8 years went by with the desperation for a new Prime game only increasing. Could it possibly have lived up to that expectation? No. But also, even without that, it could have been better than this. Metroid Prime 4 has such an incredible opening. The first couple of hours really draw you in with stunning worlds, exciting firefights, and a tantalizing mystery of a story. Then it just runs out of steam. It lets you loose and you realize that this is a game of parts roughly strewn together. It's a complete game, yet it feels incomplete. It's incoherent, inconsistent, and frankly, a bit simple. Sure, it's polished as all hell, feels good to actually play, and looks stunning, but it's all surface level, with nothing to dive further into. I kept waiting for a second wow moment similar to what the opening of the game made me feel, but it never came, and instead, I entered the game feeling disappointed, but hopeful that a steadier development building upon this work will make the next one the one we've really been waiting for. But as it stands right now, I'm sorry about this, this is Metroid Prime 4 beyond disappointing. Most relaxing game, cast and chill. Least relaxing game, cast and chill. Take the bait. Bite it. Stop teasing me. Get the bait. Get the bait. Fuck! Yes, it's bitten. Yes, yes, yes. Come on, reel it in. Yes, yes, yes! I'm the best fisherman ever. Game my son most wanted to watch. My son is 2.5, and we try to limit screen time. But there have been times while waking up from a nap or as he's settling down where he's seen the odd game, and nothing has gripped him more than Mario Kart World, or as he knows it, Mario Racing. I've already done a video talking about why I think Mario Kart World is brilliant, but it has interested my son in a way that no other game that he has seen has done. From gorgeous visuals to a staggering jukebox soundtrack made up of incredible new versions of Mario game classics, Mario Kart World is joyful at all times. What it doesn't seem to get credit for though is how visually clear it is. You would assume my son loves it because it's just bright colours and sounds, and sure, that's probably part of it. But everything is so visually distinct that he can easily pass what's happening at all times and comments on it. He likes spotting things like cows or diggers at the side of the tracks as I whiz past. He has his favourite characters like Mario, Luigi, a mushroom, and even his favourite car, typically asking for the green one. There's even been times where he's asked to have a turn. And even though he has no idea what any of the buttons on the controller do, the built-in auto features allows him to at least watch as his car races around the tracks, typically behind everyone else. Mario Kart World has been some of the most fun I've had gaming this year, but it's even better when I have a little cheerleader sat by my side, applauding regardless of how good or bad I do in a race. Gaming isn't a required hobby for my son to have. I'm going to be a parent that supports him in whatever interests he has as he grows up, rather than requiring him to follow mine. But it's been really nice, right now, to spend the occasional moments bonding over my favourite hobby and sharing that with him. Best newly played game not from this year. Death Stranding. I did it. I finally played Death Stranding. After years of putting it off, I bought the base edition when I got my Steam Deck, then the Director's Cut a year later, and then, a year after that, I finally played it. I wish I had known what sort of game this was so much earlier. The sorts of games that really speak to me are those that let you make your own path, to reach a destination your own way and deal with the elements as they happen. I love being able to look over an expanse and say, right, this is how I'm going to tackle it, which is entirely what Death Stranding is. Once you take out the bullshit up its own ass Kojima story mind. Looking at a map, planning my route to try and avoid danger and then setting off on my delivering of packages was remarkably engaging, and I gladly spent hours just traversing the space without having a need to progress the story. The quiet atmosphere as you travel without constant background music makes this an almost mindful experience for 80% of the game as you slowly trudge across the landscape, focused on putting one foot in front of the other. The quiet is so engrossing that, when a song does eventually kick in, you really feel the emotion it's wanting to convey. And when the world pushes back against you, gives you friction to your adventure, taking you out of the relaxation, it only makes the success of a delivery even more rewarding. Hearing that the second Death Stranding actually adds a bunch of quality of life stuff and streamlines the experience somewhat, somehow makes it less appealing to play, though I'm sure I'll find it's actually amazing eventually when I get to it in 3 years' time. Games I most wish I had played: Skate Story, Unbeatable, and Demon School. 3 indie hits I've been looking forward to all year, all releasing in a short space of time, that I bought hoping I'd get to them before the end of the year, but sadly there's only so many hours in the day, and even fewer that can be spent gaming these days. Maybe I could have played these instead of Metroid? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Biggest surprise: Donkey Kong Bonanza. Going into this year, we knew that Nintendo would be announcing the Switch 2, but we didn't know what games they would have coming with it. The expectation would be a new Mario, maybe a new Mario Kart. It has been many years for either of them after all. We couldn't have expected Donkey Kong though, let alone one that was this big in terms of scale and brilliance. And while the announcement of a new Donkey Kong game is surprising, maybe what's even more surprising is how absolutely bonkers and brilliant it is. It's been a long time since there was an attempt to bring the big ape into a 3D platformer, and that last one wasn't particularly successful. But here, finally, it feels like the wizards at Nintendo have struck upon how to make this ape work. And that's by remembering that he's this big dumb ape that just wants to smash everything to eat bananas. Stick him in this expertly crafted platforming world, and he's not going to meticulously solve your puzzles. He's going to smash right through them. By letting Donkey Kong ape out and destroy the environment he's meant to save, Nintendo shows that while their new hardware may feel safe, their games are going to be anything but. It's a risk to allow the players to flip the table on what are typically carefully crafted adventures, but it's one that massively pays off here, much like it did with Tears of the Kingdom's Build 'em Up Freedom. There have been few things as satisfying this year as watching the frame rate chug as I decimate the world around me to get to my goal. Then imagine building upon this whole surprise by introducing an incredible sidekick in a young Pauline, whose camaraderie with DK elevates the adventure even higher and whose musical abilities ensure this is one of the best sounding games this decade. Donkey Kong Bonanza may be the most annoying game for anyone in the same room as you play it, as its loud, constant stimulation may be grating when you're not in the ape zone, but oh banana, is it an absolutely joyful game to actually play from start to finish. This is the reason to own a Switch 2, and the theme song? Chills, every time I hear it. Still the best game of all time? Minecraft. Every year I get the call to return to Minecraft. I start up a new realm and I just adventure. I mine, I craft, I build, exploring a world that no one has ever seen before with a couple of friends. Minecraft remains, to this day, a perfect experience in my eyes. And while it's had small updates over time, I play it the same way every time I jump back in. The atmosphere, the vibes, and at times the danger remain unmatched. And even though after a period of time I'll let this realm go, I know I'll be back before long to experience it all over again. Most anticipated game, Orbitals. My partner and I loved It Takes Two, but dropped off of Split Fiction halfway through. It didn't grab us like we wanted it to, missing some of the magic that the previous one had. Orbitals seemed set to capture that magic and then some. An 80s/90s anime-inspired co-op space adventure is basically the most exciting concept you could give me these days. It looks stunning, has incredible vibes, and is designed entirely around cooperative play. In a year where we're probably going to see some absolutely huge releases, this little space adventure is the thing I'm looking forward to the most. And that's it! 2025 is over. As my gaming time has lessened, I'm not sure what 2026 will bring, but I'm determined to make the most of it. A resolution this year is to try and avoid too much of the zeitgeist, to keep away from that feeling of missing out, and instead focus only on what immediately excites me. I also want to make more time for RPGs, and finish up my playthrough of Hironobu Sakaguchi's directive work. But a mixture of retro, indie, and the odd newer, probably Nintendo-based game thrown in there is what I see my 2026 looking like. Let's see if I stick to that plan. Either way, I plan to do more videos this year than I have done previously, and have some ideas for shorter form videos that don't require a month to put together. I hope to have you along for the ride. And for those who bemoan the lack of a top 10 list, if I had to put the 30 odd games I played this year into a top 10, this is what it would look like, I guess. Happy New Year and happy gaming. See you soon.
Just